Charles Auto Spa here, podcast episode 4 with Joseph here at Lexer Detailing. So today we want to talk about what are some of the services that essentially you have decided not to offer anymore because maybe it's not efficient, maybe it's not profitable. What do you think?
Type of services. I think we've talked about this before briefly. So one service is I don't do any basic details unless if it's a maintenance client. So I will never take a client where they ask for a wash, like a quick wash, quick vacuum, especially if they're a client that is brand new to me. So in order to go on a maintenance plan, they have to have done a full detail, which means at minimum a full interior detail and exterior wash, exterior decontamination wash, where we clay it and we either wax it or coat it. So they don't need to polish it, but they need to do a decon wash. Just because, how do you gauge a basic detail? How do you gauge that this is a basic vacuum or a basic wipe down? How do you gauge that the client will be happy enough? Because my goal for every service, for every client, is to make them super happy, where I'll get a 5-star review. But you can never guarantee that with a basic service because you're just doing what the bare minimum and trying to make a client happy. And sometimes most cars when they call a detailer, they're not a basic car. They're always usually pretty dirty and it'll take a few hours. So it can never be done on a basic.
Yeah, so I do agree to a certain extent because I think actually for this, most cases, yes, I don't like to do any basic stuff, and I try to simplify the services that are offered because it's just easier to price out, and it's just expectations are easier, and you can kind of control the variables a little bit better. Because if you have so many, like I see a lot of kind of pricing packages in a nutshell that are just so generic. You have the 3-tier pricing package. I know it makes sense from like a basic marketing perspective, but then like there's just so many different things that can be priced out that just creates confusion and it creates inefficiencies that if you're just offering so many of these multitude of services, it becomes very difficult to manage your time because if you're actually busy, you just can't afford to do these small jobs, right? Yeah. I think that's the truth. If you're not busy, maybe yes, but usually these jobs aren't that profitable because they come from people that want something cheap. They want cheap value. They want it done by someone that's more professional, knowing they'll have higher quality, but they have a certain budget in mind that they don't want to exceed. I think that's why people ask for specifics. They have a certain budget in mind, and they want more value out of that budget that's reasonable. And that's why they call a professional detailer instead of going to kind of a shop or that does higher volume like a Y. I think that's what they're looking for. But the problem that is it becomes unprofitable for you. And then because if you can't do a good job, then it becomes bad reputationally, right? It's one of those no-win situations most of the time. Now, I make exceptions for people that you can tell have nuance to what they're like basically inquiry. So there are certain people, like I had a customer that texted very properly in a sense that they knew what they wanted. They'd sent pictures immediately. It was a higher end vehicle, right? And they were more local. And so I kind of knew this customer was a reasonable customer, right? They weren't necessarily looking for a cheap service that provided immense value, right? I could tell this person just wanted something specifically done that was of higher quality. and I could at least, basically provide that, knowing that he had pictures already, so I already knew, kind of have an idea of what they wanted, and I could communicate it better to this person, because it's the people that call you, and you kind of just tell by the way they're speaking, for this maybe certain vehicles that haven't been detailed. Even if you ask, these are the most problematic customers. Customers that actually, like, you want that maybe you bend the rule for this a little bit, are ones that are very specific, nuanced, educated, that actually like their vehicles, and they're maybe new to you, is an opportunity for you to, in my opinion, to win a customer. I think this is an exception, not the rule in generally. And if you're not busy during the time, which I'm not during the winter, I can make an exception for this. And so I made the exception. I think I'll have a customer for the springtime, because he clearly takes care of the vehicle. I always provide education when working a small job. If I'm not busy, I think it helps gauge the customer, your professionalism, and that you actually know what you're talking about. So yes, I generally don't offer those services when I sense that it's going to be unprofitable. But sometimes you can kind of feel out if this is the right type person to kind of split out a service for, if you're not busy. And even if I'm not busy, if I see a customer that asks for this, but I get a sense that the car is just very, very not in good condition,
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it either. But I knew this was going to be an hour or an hour and a half job. It wasn't going to be bad, and I could possibly win a customer for the future. So it wasn't going to, I wasn't going to charge him a lot, but it wasn't going to take all day or something like that. So it was worth my time. Because it really depends in the situation when you make exceptions, to make sure that you don't get burned, and that these are the types of people you actually want to work with, right? I think that's very key, right? If you're a solopreneur, you're going to eventually max out on the number of people you work with, and so you want to be selective when you can to work with the best type of people, right? People that care about the vehicles, that have some money, right? Like I always say, easiest thing to be if you're a solopreneur or any business, easiest thing to target is people that care about your product and service, and also have money. You do not want to go into the middle, because the middle is where your business is going to die. Like, you either service everybody for cheap, or you service the people that have money, that care about the niches, basically. So I do think yes, offering too many services will become a problem for your business over on the long term, because you are not a differentiator. And I think all the new people that come up try to offer as many different things as possible. I think it's a mistake. I think it's an absolute mistake. I think when I go into a restaurant and I see 200 items, especially Chinese restaurants, hard to trust.
It's hard to
trust.
hard
All
to
of them
pick.
are good.
Hard to
I
pick.
don't even know which one I should spend my money on, right? It's kind of the same way, right? You want to kind of specialize, or you want to make sure that you're doing the job properly for the right conversation, right? I think it goes the same way, right? Like, I don't want to go to a place that somehow does everything, because how can you be good at everything? But you just know you're not getting the best value in terms of something. Something is right, and I think customers can feel that. They can in a sense, if you have 200 different services, right? Some of these it's just marketing. Some of it is just like, you can't be good at everything. Essentially, right?
Other than that, I used to do a lot of paste wax. So I used to hand wax most vehicles when they get a waxing service or a protection service.
How much do we charge for that?
No, just the same. I never really charged it's the same price as it is now. So
how much did you charge?
Now
on top, like it wouldn't be a basic.
So it's part of my decon package. So if I did like a small coupe sedan, it'll be about $100.
Okay. Which is cheap in my opinion.
Which is pretty cheap. But decon is not really my bread and butter. It's just to make a car look good. But it's not really where I make my money. But I used to hand wax.
How long would that take?
I got at a point I got pretty good at it.
Yeah, but even if pretty good, how long would it take?
It would take like good 45 minutes to wash and everything, but it was always two people. So I work with two people all the time. So we would wash the outside, and then one person is working on the inside while I'm waxing.
Okay.
So it used to not take that long. It's just exhausting, very, very tiring, very exhausting, very tedious because sometimes the wax is hard to remove or it gets into cracks and crevices, which is annoying to remove. So I stopped offering that service. Not because I actually still believe that paste waxes look better. They actually do make the paint pop more, in my opinion. Fills in a lot more scratches with the fillers in waxes. But I stopped offering it because my clients didn't care. They didn't really, most 95%, 99% of my clients didn't really care about that 10% better look of the wax. They cared mostly that the car was super clean, looked shiny, and the interior was pristine. But they didn't care if it was 10% shinier. And it wasn't worth my time to offer that service. I still do offer it to some particular cars, and then I'll add a surcharge to it. But on most vehicles, my body, my labor on like the fatigue, the exhaustion of my own body for the result we get from a pace wax just wasn't worth it. So I stopped offering that service. Now I only do either some kind of 12-month ceramic spray. So I only use 12-month ceramic spray, a 1-year ceramic coating like Geon Can Coat, or for my maintenance washes I'll use or like it'll go into ceramic coatings, or I'll use like a spray and rinse style like a Geon Can Coat for my maintenance washes. Other than that, I don't use no pastes anymore.
Yeah.
It's just too hard. It's too
It
much.
takes 30 minutes to do it properly.
And it
wipe 'em
gunks up your towels, so your towels get destroyed. And
You gotta soak them in like
yeah,
APC
you gotta
after.
soak 'em, you gotta wash 'em up.
After you have to soak them in APC and stuff. You have to usually have
Yeah.
the specific. You have to one wipe on, wipe off. Yeah, I've stopped using paste waxes a long time ago. To be honest, it's first 10 years ago I used it. It looks good for a DIY like prosumer. If you're doing it by yourself, you like it. Some people like it. Not an issue, but I think if you're doing this professionally, unless it's some type of like show car that like they specifically request, I think it's very inefficient to do. I
Yeah.
would charge up the ass for that because it just it's
it's not worth the labor.
yeah, it's like you're doing it for 30. It's at least 30 minutes single person to apply a paste wax properly, and that's if you're in good conditions. It's not drying out
Good
immediately.
condition, good sun,
Yeah.
good, like the heat, the weather's good.
Yeah, and if your paste wax is a high quality, depends on the wax and how you work it and how you move it. So there's also a little bit of technique and different in terms of tool like product, I guess.
Yeah, a lot more technique than just spray and wipe.
Yeah, so yeah,
lot more
I don't do paste waxes, and generally I'll do kind of I now for my rinseate / wax 1 month wax I'll use protector wax. Put it on.
Doesn't do shit.
No, it does.
And
It does.
it doesn't do anything.
It absolutely does. It's
Trust- I would say
it's the perfect paste
I
wax.
would say try to test it on a panel, like half a panel, and then see if you can see any gloss difference.
Yeah,
There's a gloss difference.
There is a difference.
Okay, then I'm wrong.
Trust me, protector wax or Coach Chemi. I think the other sealant SP something is very similar. Protector wax I like because it's a little cheaper, but they're both very similar in terms of longevity, and I think one beads water differently.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think of protector wax, like even Geon wet coat doesn't do anything. It's more of a drying aid, makes the surface slick.
Yeah, but
Otherwise,
it,
it doesn't
you know
really
what?
add
For my
any
maintenance, vehicles, when it's on, it lasts a good 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the areas and how it's drive. It does last, so, but it won't last beyond most of that, and it will come off if you use. It will come off more significant if you use like a heavier APC or a pre-soak, right? And so it does will come off, but it definitely works as great. Number one, because you can foam it on. I'm not spraying on the car. I'm foaming it on in 10, 15 seconds. And here's the thing, letting it sit for a little bit and then it automatically, it's like rinses itself. So your after rinse is almost nothing. It's very easy, and it helps with the crevices in the water, because then it rinses downward, and everything just collects downward quickly. So there's less bleeding of the water, and also the water, if it dries, it's easier to get rid of, because now you actually have a layer of protection to get rid of any minerals. And it cleans the glass very well. Like the exterior glass, when I use it, it basically pulls all the remnants off, as long as you've kind of done the proper contact wash. So I love it, and I also upcharge for it. Sometimes I just do it for free because it's easier, but most times you want to get that small upcharge. Use $25, something like that, but like it makes your job easier and you're getting paid more for it. Why not? I think it's like, doing something that you would do anyways, but charging for it, like I think it makes a lot of sense in terms of value added from a business perspective, because it does do something. It does give a little bit of pop, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, but it's just the drying aid and just part of it, and it's just so fast. I'm not spraying. Spraying takes 45 seconds. If I go to my car, it takes minimum, probably more than that actually, a couple minutes to spray every panel around. This takes 15 seconds around, uses 200, 300, maybe 300 milliliters of product average per car in terms of water, but it's a dilution ratio of like 30-1 or something like that. So it's very, very cost efficient. I do that for a month, 1 month spray wax, and then I'll have like a sealant that goes for 3 to 6 months. Similarly, I'll use. Generally speaking, I've used kind of like a graphene spray sealant or something like that. That something that wants a little bit more longevity. That's not 1 year. I also have a 1 year coating, but I don't use that too much. But maybe I should start selling that a little bit more, because it's kind of like a cheaper version of a coating that does have some longevity to it, I think. I think. But those are the more profitable, I think, the things that you can do that, maybe it's not, customers not splurging for like a polish, like extensive work on it. Right? I think those are good options for kind of more casual customers that don't want paint correction and a full coating or something like that. Because it does make a difference in cleaning. In a nutshell. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else you don't do for the interiors or anything like that?
Interiors, I do everything. So I do mold removal, floods. I do everything. Like I do upholstery. Like I used to struggle with upholstery, but like no struggle anymore. Like it can be any type of upholstery. I can do it. Stains, nothing. There's no issues. Yeah, like I do everything. On the interior, there's nothing that I can't do. On the exterior, it's more annoying with it's more nuances. I feel.
Well, I don't steam most things anymore. Like I think it's a waste of time. So I don't. I used to try to steam things after
I don't think that's a service though. Steaming is not really a service. It's just something you can or can't do as to make something faster. I don't see that as a service.
I guess for some people, like, because it looks cool, but it does nothing, to be honest.
It's more the brown people. The brown people will be like, "Do you steam this? Do you steam?"
It's funny. Like
service?"
you're right. They asked because all the shops that are owned by I guess brown people, like they all, I think a lot of them in their social media like throw out a steamer or something. I'm thinking like, what are you guys doing? Like
they love seeing the steam.
First of all, I can't see anything after a while if you're using a high-end one, and like it just coats everything. You can't see what you're doing, so you're burning shit, heating stuff up, and then trust us when I say it doesn't do anything most of the time, unless it's something to kind of pre or or post warm a type of stain that needs a heat, basically.
Yeah.
Everything
It
else.
It has its uses, but not for the whole vehicle.
Not for the whole vehicle, and like I personally generally don't use it much, to be honest, because again, I have compressed air, so like compressed air fires at a higher psi than most steamers, and it's more efficient, easier to manage. I don't have smoke like everywhere, so I can see what I'm doing, right? So yeah, you can use the steam to push out like crevices and stuff like that, but you can use it compressed air too, and it's like easier to manage. That's why I don't like steam. You don't get anything wet in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Either. So that
I
I
use
don't
steam.
do.
I kind of I use steam quite often, but not for cleaning large surfaces.
No.
Like I don't clean a whole seat with steam, but
That's nonsense. It's like, how can
but
you
I
clean
use
a,
it a lot.
How can you
Yeah.
clean unless it's like fabric that you're heating up, like
So I kind of like sometimes I do use it to clean like the whole seat. But
the leather,
it's-
like
no,
leather.
not like leather,
Yeah,
like
it doesn't
a
work.
like a cloth seat, but it's very specific. I use it in a very specific way.
You can heat it up and then chemical
Yeah.
agitate and then extract, I
Yeah.
guess. But like, I don't know.
It's a very specific way, but I don't usually. It's more like very specific cracks and crevices and stuff like that that you can't reach with. That's easier to reach than with a brush. But yeah, other than that, like sometimes I'll take the car apart too, like the interior. So yeah, I'll take a lot of pieces off. Like I'll do everything. So there's not really much I won't do. The only thing I wouldn't do is paint removal. I think it's just not worth the time. And
Oh.
it can never be 100%. I
Paint
feel like
removal.
I've done like 1 or 2 paint removal, like someone spilled paint in their car.
Oh my goodness.
I've done it and like it's just not worth it at all. I just honestly, if I had to do it again, I would just offer them a it's called carpet overlay, I believe it's called. I would just offer to re-carpet the area,
What do you mean recarpet there?
like
You-
lay carpet over the like
Oh, you
like cut out the carpet then relay carpet.
really? Like, but don't you need kind of you need
No, it's-
backing and glue?
No, you don't need it. You just lay it right on top.
Okay.
You just cover it up. I would do that rather than I would offer that rather than trying to remove the paint because it's a pain in the ass.
It
no
depends
matter
on the
what people
paint.
say. Depends on the paint, and most of the time, they don't even know what it is. So that's why it's a pain in the ass. And yeah, and unless if you're charging thousands of dollars, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, almost better. It's cheaper to replace, I guess.
Okay, so speaking of these services, like these low-end services, like basic services you wouldn't do, I know a lot of detailers are somewhat undercharging or they charge cheap. Do you think that they're ruining the industry?
I think they're not ruining the industry that you should be in. They're just ruining their own business. So I mean, you see this online, especially in the details where they're undercharging this new guy is so cheap and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, it happens because this again, any industry that has low barriers to entry, you can have people that compete on price only because that's the only thing they can compete on. That's the truth. Like if you I started in this knowing that I did not want to compete on price as the number one factor. You kind of have to manage at the start a little bit, but here's the truth. You will burn yourself out competing on price in an industry like this that is very labor intensive and just very time consuming, like in the reality of doing a good job. So you'll never be able to do a good job, and then you'll always have more than enough clients to spend all your hours working on because people like cheap stuff, and then you will get customers, but you'll never be able to do a good job in the time that you have, and then you'll have too many customers, not enough money, and not enough time. And so, whose industry are these people ruining? Nobody's, just their own.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be ruining mine or your business, just because the clientele that comes to us, there's always going to be a clientele that wants it cheap, and if the cheap detailer isn't there, they just wouldn't get a detail, and they'll wait until there's a cheap detailer that they could find. So just because these people go to the cheap detailer because there's a cheap detailer available, doesn't mean that that individual will go to you will go and pay your prices or my prices if they weren't there. Most likely they wouldn't even pay it. But the people that come to us, they kind of value quality over money, or they have the money and they value the quality on top. And that's what I found. And there's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of people. I've known so many detailers who are good friends of mine now, and they're busy. I'm busy. How's that possible? There must be so much clientele that want this service for him to be busy, for me to be busy, for you to be busy. And then there's the cheap detailer out there that I've known a lot. I know a lot of as well. And they're busy as well. So there's so many types of customers out there. It's like me. I wouldn't go out and buy a Gucci bag, but there are people that will. I like high-end stuff, but I don't think Gucci is worth the money. I have the money for it, but it's not worth my. I don't see the worth in it.
Yeah, it's perceived value.
It's just
basically.
perceived value,
Customer
right?
perceived value. Definitely. I also think that in this type of service, I think building a relationship with your customers in terms of kind of like being a likable person that that an honest person, somebody that people then be like, this is a person I can respect, right? Like you want them to think that about you. Essentially, it's not just about the service, right? I think that's the part where like people actually don't talk about in this industry. As you're building your clientele, as you're growing your business, right? It's like if you look at the most successful shops, that are not super brand oriented yet, but have good customers. They know the owner and they like working with the owner or whoever the face person is, right? I think that aspect is also very important because people need you to be comfortable. People want to be comfortable with you, especially if you're doing mobile as well, and they want to be able to trust you, and they want everything to be easy and relaxing, and like, I think the key thing is it's about convincing the people that have the money, that are willing to spend the money, that there's value in that money. That's a difference. There's people that don't have the money, that can't spend the money, but see the perceived value. Those are not your customers. It's about finding the people that have the money, will spend the money, see the value in that money. That's the very key aspect. And you don't have to be the best detailer to do that, to be honest. This is truth. Mm-hmm. If you're good with customers and stuff and provide a good service, not even the best service, the good service, it makes up for the rest of it. In my opinion, it really does make up for the most of it, because most customers will not be able to tell the difference in a nutshell.
True. It's true.
And that's okay, because you're not selling yourself on being the very best detailer. But I think it pays to be really good at what you do. And here's the truth: if you want to be good at something, you do something again and again and again and again and again, you're just gonna be good at it. Like, no matter how smart or stupid you are, when you just do something over and over again, at some point you're gonna be decent at it. That's the way it is. So I think with that in mind, if you do enough of what you like to do or don't hate, whatever the case, you will eventually be pretty good at it, and the quality will just be there. The basic quality will be there. You know?
That being said, you said that you don't have to be the best detailer. You can be a good detailer.
I do think so.
You said that, and actually, I agree with you to a certain extent, but if you don't want to have any sort of issue, any sort of review, any sort of complaint, being the best is how you do it. So that's why I actually think I'm the best interior detailer, the best in my area, like hands down. There's no one comparable. Just like, and that's why I get zero complaints. I think last year I didn't get one complaint at all. No one called me, no one texted me, no one said, yo, there's like issue with this. Not one. And I actually do believe that I am the best. And when you strive to be the best, you get zero issues. And that's what I like. I don't like people texting me again and me having to go back. that being said,
Because
I
Joseph
also
hates talking to people. More. Joseph hates talking to people.
yeah, I don't want to. After you talk to thousands of people, you just don't want to converse anymore. That's why. And that being said, also, I think I also remember you hearing that they like talking to the owner, you know, having the relationship with the owner. I'm like, no relationship. I don't like that at all. The reason why is because the reason why I didn't call my business Charles Auto Detailing,
Yeah.
Daniel's Auto Detailing,
Yeah.
Daniel's Auto Spa is because no, like, I'm not Joseph. Like I'm
Joseph.
I'm Joseph, but I'm not Joseph at the business. I'm Elixir Auto Detailing.
That's fine.
And that's why starting last year, I was like, you know, I'm just a dude at the business, you know? Like, I just work for Elixir. I am not the owner.
You are the owner, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I don't want this to be an owner-oriented business where everything goes through me. That's why that's why I had an employee now that I sent on my own, and then when I go on my own or with him, I'm like, yo, I'm just a employee. Don't reach out to me. Don't think that I am coming. Like, I may not be coming. You know, I don't want you to book with me and be like, oh, Joseph is coming, and then be disappointed when I'm not. Because then now you're just serving the business over and over again. So before, I was like, look, Elixir is coming. Elixir is fucking coming, you know? The best. Elixir is the best. We are coming. It's going to be immaculate no matter if Joseph's coming. Daniel's coming. Charles is coming. It's going to be the best. Same quality all year round. Every service, you know? Otherwise, every time you book, someone's going to be like, yo, is Charles coming? And you're like, shit, Charles not coming? When can he come? When can I book when Charles is coming?
I think people, I will say people don't think like that necessarily. And the reason why they don't think like that is I think most people think of it as somebody's going to come, and it may not be Charles. Charles is just, and if I name myself, you know, Charles Auto Spa, but like, I think when I speak to people, I don't get that sense where they expect Charles the owner to come. Like, that's just my experience. So I don't see that as an issue. I like being personable because I think that's a competitive advantage for you as a business owner. There's nothing wrong with being the brand once you get bigger. And like, I always think like you can always shorten to acronyms to become the brand essentially. So that people see it as acronyms, as less of a person, more of a brand. I always thought in the back of my head, once, you know, if you grow your own business big enough, you can become more of a brand, essentially. But you kind of, I think of like small business in an aspect almost like, you know, the local restaurant, you know, Steve's Grill or some shit like that, right? You go in, you don't necessarily expect Steve to be there. You just know someone named Steve is right.
But it's different.
I don't think it's different.
This is a personal business. You go to their house. There's a person going to their house, talking to the owner. You're in Steve. You know, you're walking in. You're not going to talk to Steve. You're going to talk to a cashier, and you're going to get a steak or whatever, right?
Maybe.
It's a little bit different.
I don't think it's different because if it's a small restaurant, there's only a few people. So you expect maybe one of them Steve, maybe one is not. Sometimes Steve runs the cash too. Like for really small, like small shawarma places, it's a mom and pop. I assume one of them it literally owns. If they name their shawarma place with their name and shawarma, I would assume it is. But I don't necessarily like. I don't think I'm bothered by if they're not or if it is, as long as the product or service is good. I just think, in my experience, people don't make that initial assumption when it comes to a more professional level operation that's run, and they can sense where it's more. So they if you have more than one person, obviously one of them is not Charles, not both of them are Charles.
Eventually,
right?
It becomes like the name, even if it's like Daniel or Charles or Joseph's Detailing.
The reason
eventually, they'll start associating with that name, and it's just a professional business. But at the same time, when I go to a client's house, I'm just like, yo, I'm just a dude. Like I love working for Elixir. Fucking, you know, I love working for Elixir. Like, it's great.
I think people like to talk with the person that is in charge. basically, because if they have any concerns and stuff, and they can see the passion in the business owner, it reflects better. I think people just generally like, where's your manager, right? Is it, like in essence, they want to talk to the top person that's running, they provide, because if they have any concerns, they know they can get to answers quickly. And I think that's part of, I tried as a competitive advantage is I always try to get people answers quickly, so that they're lifelong customers. They can trust, they don't have to jump through hoops. I hate when I have to jump through hoops to talk to someone that is important. I need a problem solved. It's a problem-solving business in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm not trying to solve anyone's problems. But
You're solving problems. You're cleaning the car. That's the problem,
what
right?
I mean is, I'm not trying to solve anyone's problems, because when we detail the car, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I already know I left. It's perfect. Don't call me back. Like, don't text me stupid random things. Like, it's perfect. Text the.
But that's like
text the owner.
That's not even if that's not an issue, or right in my opinion, when they talk to the person, because my competitive advantage I always want to show passion in what I do. I want people to see the passion, because they're like, oh, well, this guy actually like. This is not some fucking random dude that's just like whatever, right? Like, he doesn't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
He knows his stuff. He's passionate about the industry. And then I've had reviews where people can see, like, they tell me I'm very passionate about what I do, because I think it's very important, because they can tell, like, okay, I'm paying a little bit more, but even if I have an issue, I know Charles will take care of it, like, right? That's also part of it. Even if there's never any issue, right? I think the point is that insurance of taking care of anything that could possibly happen. I think that's where, when you pay more and you pay for insurance, like normal insurance, right, you're paying for peace of mind, right? Yeah. So I think that gives people peace of mind. They don't have to jump through hoops if there's an issue and stuff like that. Even if there's never an issue, it's the thought of not having problems is why people pay more for certain things, right? Yeah. You pay more to reduce your risk of problems. That's the only reason why you pay more, because anybody can do certain tasks, right? Just like a doctor or a lawyer, there's price points at every place, right? Like, essentially, right? There's certain like price you're gonna pay, but you have really good doctors, really shitty doctors, right? There's price points and everything. The reason why you pay for the best is because you have peace of mind. They provide quality service and take care of problems. That's all it is, right? Just like lawyers, our services are similar. The reason why people pay more is peace of mind and quality at the same time, but really just peace of mind. You don't have to worry about quality, right? Or worry about how you're taking some shit, or like it's safe, right? Like, this is what people are paying for, and this is why I want to show, especially as I'm growing. Like, I'm not to a point where I can afford not to grow. Like, I need to have every single person I speak to that I provide service be a customer who comes back. Because when I do the math, if I'm a solopreneur, I only need 200 people a year to fill my calendar at a baseline, so that everything else can max me out, right? Then all the advertising max me out, right? But if I constantly have to losing customers, losing people that don't see value in the service, I'm constantly chasing the next carrot, right? That's a problem. So I'm always about try to secure that customer as for life, or long period, 2-3 years, and so that you don't have to keep chasing that carrot, that your advertising dollars or your search dollars can go into maxing yourself out, so you have peace of mind and you can focus on different things. And because you're busier and your business is a little bit more mature, you may not need to do that. But I think having that mindset makes everything else easier, because then you have more flexibility into, number one, increasing prices, number one, increasing efficiency, number one, hiring more people, right? If you have more business, you can actually afford to hire another one, but you have to max it out into efficiency for it makes sense. If you're kind of in between, you're stuck, right? So I think keeping your customers is very, very important in a nutshell, especially in this industry that is just kind of like, sometimes feel commodity based, and sometimes feel like services commodities, like just a standard thing, like it's nonsense. Anybody can do, right? So I think in this type of industry, you have to step back and look at how are you different from just the cheaper guy, or right, the person that maybe has, you know, stuff that you can buy from any store essentially, like, right? I think that's part of it. Having professional equipment.
Yeah.
You know, everything plays a part into it, right? You know, and I like to tell my customers and educate them, because when actually what happens is when you educate them, you know what happens? They realize, I don't want to do this shit myself. Like they realize they don't want to do this. They don't want all this other equipment. They're like, this is not worth my time. I'd rather pay you guys.
No, detailing is once you get into it, you're gonna be like, ah, shit.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to spend this
Yeah.
like. This is why I like to talk a lot to customers that I can tell they like their vehicle. They might do little, you know, washing their car here and there. But
Wipe
the
it
more
up, yeah.
the more I tell them about different techniques, different stuff, the more I educate them. They're like, they're like, holy shit, there's like, I have to know this, like this, there's that. I'm like, oh wow, like you know.
Yeah.
Then they realize, I don't want to do this shit. Like here's the thing, when they know they don't want to do that stuff, they're more hesitant to do the stuff themselves, because they don't want to screw it up, because you're telling them this is the proper process.
Yeah, when they get into it, when someone I have clients where they try to do it themselves, and you're like, shit, they come back to me and they're like, shit, man,
It's tough.
This is not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun when
some
you don't.
people like it.
Yeah.
Some people like it. Some people it's enjoyable. But like I think for others, it comes to a realization. I don't really want to tackle this project,
Yeah.
and I can now see the value of what you're providing, because there's so much more technical aspects that if I do it improperly, because you're educating now. Before, they didn't know if they make a mistake and screw something up and something like damage their vehicle. But now you tell them, oh, if you do it this way, you're gonna damage your vehicle. You should have this product. This is your proper process. They're like, I don't want to do this improperly, because you're telling me I'm doing it improperly. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that means I'm probably just gonna, you know, pay you to do it, because I'm not even gonna attempt this. Because, you know, people like DIY attempts. It's fun sometimes, but then, you know, you'll screw something up where you don't even know you screwed something up, and
Yeah.
until after the fact, right?
Usually, if you DIY, usually when you DIY something, it becomes more expensive.
Exactly. But you don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't really know that. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But if you tell them, okay, don't do it this way, you need this, and then you like, oh, I have to get this. I don't really want to do that. Like, you know
Yeah,
what?
like if you DIY clean your car, if you cleaned it once, getting all the equipment, it'll probably be more expensive until you've cleaned it at least like 5 years or something worth of cleaning. Because let's say you get your car detailed once a year, and you DIY it now, and you clean it once a year, it might take and you have all the equipment, DIY equipment, it might take 5 years of cleaning in order to make it worth your time. Really depends.
I don't, maybe not 5 years, but I think it will take. I think the cost of the equipment is not as prohibitive as the actual use and time and labor of doing it. So unless you really like
No,
that,
I think it will take 5 years. See what you actually need. Okay, you need a vacuum,
Yeah.
a pressure washer.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a vacuum, pressure washer, towels, brushes, chemicals.
Yeah.
How much do you think that can be
You're probably looking at $2,000.
for all of that?
Yeah, I think $2,000. Yeah.
Then that's 10 fucking years. If let's say you did one full detail a year, that's 10 years of. Unless if you clean your car multiple times a year.
Well, no.
You know?
So here's the thing, because he's probably, if you have those equipment, you're probably doing it more than once a year
maybe.
yourself, right? You're probably washing the car once or twice once a month or twice a month in a good period of time. So you're getting some use. I don't think it's 5 year. I think there's a few years that it takes some time
Maybe
to
a
get
few
with
years until
but
you
and
reap the
here's the
rewards for
thing, you're not valuing the time. Labor time is value too, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's actually more costly for most people than the actual cost of the equipment, essentially. That's what I think, because to do it properly, it takes time. When I first started having even average shitty, it took me almost an hour to wash my vehicle.
Takes quite a long time.
Yeah, and that's a long time. It's not quick, right? And now depending on the my car, depending on how dirty, what technique I want, I'm probably cutting it down to half an hour, because I can skip a few things from a personal perspective, right? But even then, even for dirty cars, I would say under 45 minutes for a really dirty car that have to spend time on wheels and stuff like that. But usually try to do in between 30 to 45 minutes, and that's already like inefficient in some aspects. You can really kind of cut the time down. But one person really can only move so fast, in my opinion.
It's funny, even like I remember I told you I was doing DIY keg sprayers.
Yeah.
Super high quality actually. Like better than most I've seen because I'm copper crimping this ends instead of using those like just twist knobs. I'm actually copper crimping them. I bought a $200 crimper. And so the equipment cost for me was like $1,000.
Nobody's buying kegs on DIY.
Yeah, but it was like $1,000 something. So actually for me I have to go out and sell it, and this summer I'm planning on going out to all the shops and trying to sell it to make my money back because I'm down right now. And the only way to make it worth my time to make a DIY keg sprayer was to buy in wholesale. It's fucking wholesale, right? So I have like so many units. So, but I have to sell all these units to make my money back.
Nah, perfect rinseless, and then you know what I'm gonna do? I do for that. I'm gonna use it rinseless for the interior.
Well, imagine I went to all these like shops. At least one guy would buy something.
Right, just get a couple. You're good.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's all for today. Thanks for joining, and see you guys next time. Right? Peace.